like the European Union, they want to put a very big umbrella over every country, and so that they will tell countries what to do. So your country will lose the sovereignty. They want to mix with your taxes, with who you let in and you let out, with what to do with education. They want to dictate what happens in your country. And so that is the problem.
But still, I know the definition of globalization.
Marcus, can I just interrupt and course correct this room? Kennedy and Trump formed a unity party based on three principles, which is vaccines, forever wars, and censorship, sir. I'll say it again. Vaccines, forever wars, and censorship, sir.
Vaccines weren't like a thing that I was even talking about.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the fact that the vaccines are the virus. The vaccines are the virus. And that's what everybody's been poisoned with. And maha, I'm going to the gym, vote Trump fatties.
So one of the things that I would like kind of hone in on is just when we talk about globalization, tell me the definition. Did we change it? Did we change globalization? And when I think of globalization, it's pretty much this is cultures, governments, around the world, and interconnect. But you say globalism instead of globalization. Globalism is an ideology. It's a process that certain actors want to, just like the girl said, they want to get everybody together on one umbrella. They control, tax, and take the resources from more people. That's different than globalization. Globalization is exactly what you described from buying things in a capitalistic way that are most cheaply produced.
I just want to say something about Kevin, who came on the stage and embarrassed himself. And, I think he's honestly pretty funny. But I got to say, there are provocateurs that want to stop Trump and Kennedy and Vance from creating real change, not this bullshit Obama hope and change, which is all propaganda, Hegelian dialectic, neurolinguistic programming, lies. They're domestic terrorists. Kamala Harris will be the biggest disaster for the United States of America since World War I, World War II, because that dumb bitch will create World War III, because she represents the most evil, most traitorous, most disaster-causing organizations on this planet. She is the Kali Yuga of the motherfucking universe. She is the Hindu Kali goddess of death, destruction, war, famine, disease, vaccines. Vote Trump, vote Kennedy. Go.
Yeah, so it's free for me, so no way.
I just want to... Oh man, that's a great take.
Which throw all the money in the economy to other countries. You have no kind of protections to tariffs, then obviously that country is going to get stronger than you and seek to assimilate. It's only a temporary fix.
So I think what you mean is the word you're looking for is not sustainable. It's not sustainable, it's going to fall apart. Just even the idea of it is not sustainable. Just like socialism and communism historically hasn't been sustainable. Not that the government would yield voluntarily.
Unsustainable, just like boxed water.
Because people will rise against it. When the people will rise against suppression at some point, even if whatever kind of oppression or suppression that is, especially from the government. So it's not sustainable, and historically it does not have. It hasn't worked well for the people itself. Look at what's happening in Venezuela, right? Like they've literally little by little from a thriving economy, a thriving country who was purchasing the most amount of cars from U.S. and importing it. One generation turned progressive, and they elected a progressive leader, and they fell into socialism. Now they're one of the poorest countries in the world because of that. They can't even decide their own election. Literally, the guy stole it again from them. It's ridiculous what's happening, and people are not realizing it that it is the tactics of socialism the left is using in order cannot dictate to the companies more than 50 people to vaccinate all their employees. Shut the fuck up. It's not constitutional. They need our constitution.
In Europe, we have to shut up our mouths and do whatever the European Union says, which on top of that are not even elected officials, you know? They're just put there.
I just want to know, when will Dr.
You said NAFTA, Mayra, but this is very different. NAFTA is a block agreement for commerce that is not the same as the European Union, which is a government of governments, and that is what they're trying to implement in other places. NAFTA and another block commerce agreements, they are different than these political blocs.
I just want to point out that Susan Wojcicki, the former head of YouTube, is dead. Her son is dead because of the vaccines. And I want to say that you cannot underestimate the power of Google, YouTube, Meta, Facebook, that Sundar Pichai needs to issue a fucking apology, just like Mark Zuckerberg, for spreading propaganda about the vaccine and the virus. They killed a lot of fucking people. Where is the responsibility and leadership of Sundar Pichai? They're now Dr. Pichai.
Anyway, Midas, do you want to respond? Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to say that why I brought up NAFTA is because it represented the brain drain of America. All these high-tech jobs at the time when America was about to flourish into the technology and electronics got sent away from America and overseas to China, thereby boosting their economy and leaving America a kind of consumer society, a higher consumer-based society. Therefore, obviously, it was set up to lose. It was set up to not be sustainable. The same way the other stuff has not been set up to be sustainable. Because it's all kind of fraud.
I mean, is the basis of an economy how many people you can get to look at a cell phone to scroll up endlessly, eternally on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram? Is that the basis of a powerful economy? I don't know. It seems to me like brain control, mind control, hypnosis, communication. All communication is hypnosis. Look at me with Ron Paul there. Ron Paul wanted to audit the Fed and end the Fed because this fiat currency allows your Congress to go $35 trillion in debt and destroy the future of your country by making the country a nation of slave debtors to the banks. It's called monopoly, and do not pass go.
Having Ron Paul next to you.
Well, I think it's kind of like the mechanics of communism on the whole. They've been doing this since sorry, 1940s. If you understand what happened with the civil rights movement, NAACP, the ADL, which was kind of set up to hide the murders of white Americans. It's kind of obvious what they were doing, even with the Ku Klux Klan. It's kind of obvious what they were doing, and it's subversion on a high level rate, and also within the school system. Because in order to separate the gender and control the people entirely, you must control their minds. Same thing my brother said just now about mind control.
That's 100% correct.
Honestly, I think the globalists are more scared that all of their schemes and scams are going to get shut down. DNA, genealogies, dinosaurs. This is multi-billion-dollar rackets they have. HIV, vaccines, all this stuff is going to collapse, and they're going to become.
Did you say dinosaurs? Did you say dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Dinosaurs. So you know about dinosaurs being scanned?
You can have the DNA. Dinosaurs.
Wait, do you know about how dinosaurs are such a scam? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, because they made styrofoam first.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I just recently found this out. Dinosaurs are the biggest scam in the animal game. So I thought, like most people think, when I go up here in New York, I was just in Midtown. I thought when York and I go to the Museum of Natural History and I see these big giant dinosaurs in the cases or out for display for the public, I thought that those were actual bones that they found. It turns out that the dinosaurs that they have found, like let's say the T-Rex, they have only found tiny little parts of the dinosaur, and it does not make up even 20% of the animal, what the skeletons that they've uncovered. The rest of it, they basically make an artist rendering based on what they think it is, and then they go ahead and make, they're not going to put the real bones out there. I understand that, but they go and make like a plastic composite, either 3D print or carved vertebrate structure, and actually those dinosaurs that we're looking at, we have no idea that they're even anywhere close to what these paleontologists or a bunch of liars have put out there. It's a really wild rabbit hole.
Same goes for all the monkeys and the evolution stuff too.
Correct. That's how I found out about it. See, absolutely. The missing link people, like the ones that they're like, oh, the Hobbit of Australia, this and that. Dude, they find like a toe, and then they find a skull that has like maybe 10% of the bone left to it, and then they make up the rest, which could be from a deformation and being, I saw a guy the other day who had a big fucking giant hard lump sticking out of the side of his head. I guess he was born that way. So if you find one of those, if you find a tiny piece of it, and then you're going and making these conclusions, like, oh yes, absolutely, missing link was 3 feet shorter than the average human man, and then it's just a whole bunch of bullshit, smoke and mirrors, and a whole bunch of lying. And I never knew that until very recently.
Facts. It kind of shows why Ronald Reagan said we're really exploring inner space. That's what NASA's really about, not outer space, but inner space. So when you start understanding what they're talking about with inner space, it's like inner space, how to control, how to mind things.
Yo, I'm about to open up an X space, so click the link at the top of the room and RSVP for that. I'm gonna open that up in a minute.
To be fair, that's not true about all the dinosaurs. Sue was a 90% complete Tyrannosaurus Rex, and there's many other examples of other breeds.
If the T-Rex ever fell down, did it get back up? Very simple.
Yeah. Do they know what the T-Rex's arms are made of?
I think they were more bird-like creatures, prehistoric. I wouldn't say they were like what you think they are, because more dinosaurs are kind of more similar to birds than they are, reptiles. But there's
I watched Jurassic Park too.
Well, no, it's just not that. I'm saying.
The fact that they tell us that they all went extinct like 250 million years ago is bullcrap. As soon as they found actual soft tissue, that should tell you that they're
Did they find like a dragon type thing? I'd say they're more like a dragon. I think we're more into that.
There's no soft tissue of dinosaurs that's ever been found. It does not exist. They're absolutely fossil. No, there is not. Not of dinosaurs. Not of 250 million year dinosaurs. No.
It's not 250 million years.
Yeah, well, dinosaurs are 250 million years. No, there are no dinosaurs newer than 250 million years ago. And there's no fucking stuff. Are you talking about woolly mammoths? Woolly mammoths? Like 60,000 maybe? No, you're the fucking retard and you're going to mention what a retard you are. Sure, go for it.
Less spoken to.
Go for it, Ricky, because you were fucked up about the dinosaurs already, so I'm looking for you to double down on your ignorance, because you were already fucking wrong about the dinosaurs conference. So go for it, genius.
I'll be back in 2 minutes. There's multiple soft tissues. All right.
I think when I was growing up in elementary school, one of the things that was kind of introduced was kind of like, hey, the dinosaurs run the earth. He was in charge. And all of a sudden, they disappeared. The ice age and all that, right? And then we showed up. It's out of nowhere. Humans. Ta-da! Did you hear about the evolution? Did you hear Adam and Eve? So what's right? You know what I'm saying? What have y'all discovered on your journey of life?
Well, paleontologists never really seen a phone in its life. Supposedly, the paleontologists never actually had a physical dinosaur bone. So,
Jesus Christ.
that's interesting.
There's no other truth but Jesus Christ. That's the thing.
You mean Yeshua HaMashiach?
Amen, brother. I got another one for y'all. It's gonna drive y'all crazy, especially when it's big ones. Can you show me a slave ship that didn't come from Disney Plus?
Just posted 3 links in there to kind of refute the guy that said there was no soft tissue found. It's actually relatively new news. So the guy that said that there has been no soft tissue found is going to have to argue with actually this Sony, who I don't trust anyways. But then there's other.
How old is the soft tissue? What does the article? Please tell me that. What does the article say? How old is the soft
That's
tissue?
the whole point of my statement, idiot, is that they tell us that they went extinct 250 million years ago, yet we have soft tissue that we found, which debunks that argument.
No, that is so foolish. That is not fucking dinosaur soft tissue, you retard. Dinosaurs went extinct 250 fucking million years ago. There's no soft tissue that's 250 million years, you fucking retard. It is a fossil. It is a rock. It is a rock. 5 years. There's a whole special on Netflix about it. You're just wrong, Mike, and you're wrong about the date too. I'll let you come to that conclusion. Okay. So when did the dinosaurs go extinct, buddy? Can you tell me that? When did they go extinct? I'll tell you exactly when. Obviously not 250 years ago. Oh, okay. This is where fuck. You guys are fucking retarded. I'm literally getting the mail on through because this is the dumbest thing I've heard in a long time. Read the articles. I'm not arguing that there's soft tissue found that's the age of these articles. I'm arguing that these are not fucking dinosaurs. It's not the phone that they sent to me. And they got the kid. Listen, I'm going to say it was mummified. The one that I watched on Netflix was mummified down in ice. I can't remember. Just tell me just look at the years. Just look at the years. How many years? How old is it? That's all that matters.
The whole point is that whatever date they
Excuse me, do you hear me speaking? Give us the link so we can review this, and then Mike can give his professional opinion.
It's already.
I'm gonna put another one. The problem is that the term dinosaurs is being used extremely loosely at this point. First of all, if we're going to disagree that the dinosaurs existed 250 million years ago, then we're not going to be talking about the same fucking things. Because dinosaurs did not exist 60,000 years ago, or 80,000 years ago, or 250,000 years ago. Dinosaurs existed millions of years ago. There's no soft tissue that is millions of years old. The closest thing is insects trapped in amber. Okay? There's no fucking dinosaur skin. There's no dinosaur livers. There's no fucking dinosaurs because they expired as a result of a giant fucking comet millions of years ago. There's nothing. So we're gonna say that this stuff is found. That's fine. I'm not gonna disagree on it. Read the article. Go for it. I don't need to read the article. I know when dinosaurs went extinct. There is no, and I also know there's no tissue that survived that long. So whatever this is, it's not dinosaur tissue. It's tissue of other animals after the dinosaurs. Thank you.
Mike, is it true that there were 3 comets at different parts of the world? And couldn't it be true that there could have been tissue survived in the ice for this long?
No, because even the ice isn't as old as millions of years old. The rock under the ice is millions of years old. The ice is not 250 million years old. Ice is not that old. Not that old. The Earth has gone through heating phases and cooling phases many times over since then. So what we're talking about is a fossil. A fossil is a rock. It's a biological material that was smashed into a rock and calcified over millions of years. So we're talking about stone here. We're not talking about living tissue. You can find 60,000-year-old mammoth living tissue on ice because ice has been around for 60,000 years. If you take a core sample of Antarctica, it's not even remotely close to 1 million years old. Thank you. No, you can keep saying whatever it is, but all you have to do is talk to me about the age of the dinosaurs, and we'll start there. So look at the phases of the dinosaurs. It's not a dinosaur. And if you want to talk about the age of the dinosaurs, we can talk about the periods the dinosaurs existed in. We can have all kinds of discussion with dinosaurs. But I'm not going to let you sit here and lie and make sure that's because it's fucking retarded.
How large was this? It did say they did find some soft tissue of a T-Rex, though, at Montana or something. With blood vessels and bone. Yeah.
Because it's not 250 million years old.
No.
And this is where this conversation goes when we believe stupid shit like that, is that now we talk about the dinosaurs are more recent. This is a stupid fucking conversation. This is makes you dumb. This one is slightly intelligent prior to this conversation. But now that we're talking about how there's soft tissue found, and I'm explaining that it can't be possible, now we're being told that dinosaurs actually existed more recently, which is why there's stuff. See how these things develop into more retardedness as we go forward? Like it makes everybody in the room dumber.
Well, you yelling doesn't make anybody smarter. I think that we can have a conversation where people would really want to listen to what it is that you're saying. When you're not yelling at them and treating them like
that's fine. But it started when Ricky was saying that I was an idiot and he started this. So I started yelling when he put me down. He put me down like 20. He put me down like immediately. Like if you don't want to set me up to be defensive, then don't tell me I'm stupid or wrong when I'm right and you're making up lies. Like do that.
The fact of the matter is none of us were there, so let's just have a conversation.
Wow, I haven't even been looking at the phone, so I don't know. I did not realize the room left. The articles. We've only been talking because I know how because the article if it says there's live tissue for a dinosaur, it's not a real. It's not that. I'm not saying the article. I'm not saying the article's wrong. I'm saying the article's not talking about a dinosaur. That's all I'm saying. I don't need to read it. I know when the I know that living tissue can't exist that long. Because I know that because I know the science of it. It's common sense if you know it, if you investigate it and research it, and if you've read in the past, you don't need some new article to tell you the dinosaurs are more recent than 250 million years. No, they're not. It's scientific knowledge. You don't have to be a scientist to understand science.
Let's do this, Mike. Let's make these moments educational moments. And so if that's not what you believe, explain to us what it is. Because it can be edifying. I haven't taken geography since I graduated in 91. Let you know how long ago it's been since I studied. Right? Since I studied.
It's not geography. It's paleontology. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. So here's the deal. The dinosaurs existed in eras, right? So there's a Mesozoic. I mean, it's been a while since I've touched up on this stuff. But there was these phases of the dinosaurs, and they can track what dinosaurs existed when, and then they can track when the dinosaurs went non-existent. And all this stuff was so long ago that no tissue can survive millions of years like that. So what started this room that was wrong is that dinosaur skeletons are all full of shit. They're all made up, is what was being said. Because when you look at a dinosaur skeleton in a museum, that it's less than 1% real dinosaur, and they just find little fragments and they make up the rest of it. Not true. There's a 90% skeleton found of Tyrannosaurus Rex called Sue, which is the most famous, expensive one. And it's 90% intact, okay? So it's how they work, except that we're talking about the most famous dinosaur in history. So if you're going to make a point about dinosaurs, then let's talk about the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well, it's 90% accurate, so they didn't make it up. Not to mention, it's a little misleading to say that because the truth is, yes, they find skeletons parts of them, but in general, they have complete skeletons of pretty much all of them by piecing different finds together. So yes, they do. Most all the ones that you would know of as a person, the most common ones, yes. There are exceptions to what I'm saying, but all the big ones that you see in the kids movies, yes, they have basically. There's enough skeletons have been found throughout history, in the United States especially, and China, that they can say, oh, here's a skull from one, here's a leg from the other, and then there's communication in the world between these people to do this, and then yes, but correct, when they put a skeleton together though, because they own different pieces of them depending on where they're found and what countries find them and all that stuff. Yes, the skeletons you find it's not gathered into one actual unit from all of them. It's true the units are built off other ones, but they're taking molds for the other bones from actual bones that have been found elsewhere in the world that are commonly understood and known to be real, and then they build the skeleton out of that with a few real ones if it's a real museum. Depending how big the museum is and all that stuff, sometimes it has actual real fragments in there, and sometimes it has no real fragments in there. It just depends. I just don't.
Not only that,
well, not all of them. No, they're not all.
Like, went off the line. You keep going. You have to
well, because now you're rephrasing what I said inaccurately. It's not all replicas. Some of them are real. Sue is real. Sue's 90% real.
I don't know if he's rephrasing like that. I think he's making his own statement. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. It seems to me as though it's keeping a childlike mind, but not to be ad hominem. You have to show us at least one anatomically correct Tyrannosaurus Rex. One that if it falls down, get back up. One that his head is not big enough for its body. And the same with the Diplodocus. Next big won't be able to walk. If you start looking at all these quote unquote dinosaurs, Stegosaurus, if they have platelets, those platelets become too overgrown for their body. Basic anatomy.
This is the kind of stuff that's said is completely inaccurate. So I just told you real. Now we have somebody strawmanning me with a bunch of bullshit.
Well, the skull is not correct. The skull is not nearly complete on the T-Rex. So
there's a complete T-Rex skull. There are complete T-Rex skulls.
Just type it into Google if you don't believe it.
No. You guys type it, I'll just take off. This is a waste of my fucking time. Thank you. I didn't learn anything. I wish I had. I hope you learned one thing because you came in with a bunch of complete bullshit. But nevertheless, have a good evening and go learn about dinosaurs. They're fun.
You're able to turn that into my God. Basically,
But notice how much that dinosaur story collapses. 150 million, 200,000 just keeps changing. And we start talking about this control is because the logic is changing. You understand how it is when somebody cheats you out of flesh. You understand how it is when somebody takes something, replacing it with infection, stuff like this. And government is the only true business.
I mean, Midas, do you think that you have a common destiny with your fellow citizens in this country, or are you an anarchist revolutionary?
We have a common destiny, brother, in Jesus Christ. We're definitely going to create science to a certain extent whereby nobody will be able to. What is real? I like calling it Israel. I don't know about the science things, but we're going into a world that is real, not just all this fabricated stuff. No God knows.
Noah's flood murders from the Bible?
No, I haven't. I thought that genealogy doesn't bear any fruits. We're not supposed to stop it.
Genealogy, I'm talking about the flood and how the Earth is not 250 million years old, whatever they say, 1.7 billion years old, and that the dinosaurs died in that flood. I'm gonna put a video in the chat that a bunch of people in here have already watched it. Dude, it opens your mind to holy crap. The Bible might not just be stories; it might be actual historical fact. So I don't know that it's 6,000 years old, but I believe what that book says. There's a lot of
said Noah's blood. But when I noticed, it's all kind of fabricated. As far as the timeline of Jesus, we can go back into ancient Kanji, and most of Genesis is recorded within the language of Chinese, which is nuts. Because you can go back and see most of their words. They have Noah as one of their words for, I think, togetherness or shipwreck or something like that. But it has 8 people on the ship, and they represent something. So all of the Bible, from what I'm finding, is the truth. Old Testament and the New Testament. And everybody's kind of trying to take the seat of Jesus Christ, and that's what all this is about. The whole dinosaur thing and the whole, it's all about that.
I'm about to put this video in. There's 2 videos. So the first one, I'm going to put up the first one right now. The first one is really good, right? And it's like an overview, and it's still an hour and a half long. The second one is 4 hours long and literally lays out exactly how it happened, the exact evidence for a Adam and Eve, meaning all of us coming from two people, and the genealogical evidence for that. In other words, our genes, we have a mutation rate. Every time you have sex and have a baby with another person, the human genome mutates at a certain pace. And if you take that backwards, it takes us all back to and this is in science as well. This is agreed upon.
Are you saying you're black?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, I'm black too. Oh my God, we're all black. We all came from the cradle of Africa.
I am definitely black. Oops, I already put that one. So that's the first one, bro. If you're a Christian and you want to watch one thing, watch that video. It changed my life. I swear to you, it changed my life. It changed my thought process on God, on anything, on everything. And you're gonna be. I think we're friends already on this app. Hit me up when you watch these videos. Anybody in the chat or wherever. It's the 2 best videos I've ever watched, and it explains piece by piece how what Mike Moon was crying about before. I know it's not true because it's not. You can't have soft tissue for 250 million years. Well, motherfucker, we got it right here. You're looking at it. Put 10 things in the chat. He still doesn't believe it because he's part of that, like you said, that globalist mindset. It's controlling and consolidating not just money, not just oil or resources. It's consolidating education and information and people. The goal of it is to make people as dumb as Mike Moon, and that's a scary thing because he is an idiot.
Well, he is programmed, meaning that we are all programmed. And I think the important thing is the ad hominem attacks do actually limit progression. And I'm not saying he isn't an idiot. I agree with you. He's a total idiot. But, I still feel compassion for his programming, meaning that he's so angry all the time. And I believe thoroughly that this app is likened to road rage. Each room is a new road. And many, many people do not understand that if you really want to enjoy yourself, if you really want to be free, if you really want to have joy in your life, and see the setting sun or the dawn. You know what I'm saying?
So constantly, history is changing all of the time, and that's what we're finding. That we were wrong a lot, quite often.
That's right, Tom. That's a
Yeah.
great point.
Yeah, and so when something is presented and someone is so close-minded, I'm questioning that person then. Because if you're closed off yourself to growing and learning more about what we're discovering, because we don't know even half of it, right? So that's why I appreciate what Joy said originally too, is look, let's make this a learning moment for everyone. So I'm willing to learn. I know we have to move forward. There's so much we don't know. So I appreciate everyone.
But it's not about what we don't know. It's about what we do know. And we do know that the vaccines are the virus, in my opinion. that the mainstream media, social media propagated a lie and a hypnosis and a Hegelian neurolinguistic programming dialectic that killed millions and will destroy millions of people's lives. That, in my opinion, is not opinion. I think it's a fucking fact. And I think the Federal Reserve is responsible for pumping a lot of this because the first bullshit congressional act was called the HEROES Act. And it's all Hegelian. It's all lies. It's all treason. It's all traitorship. It's all bullshit. And your local congressman, your local senator is a fucking liar for the most part, almost entirely out of all of them. They're almost all just criminals and bullshit communicators who spread the lie and spend your fucking money and want to redistribute your money and want to tax you to death, want to poison you to death, want to feed you to death, want to movie you to death. They don't teach you shit. So it's not about what we don't know. It's about what we do know. And what we do know is that they want you to be a piece of shit slave and never speak up and never tell them the truth, that you can't censor the truth, that the truth will always rise up. But when they automate censorship, which is what they're doing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Google, they are literally going to destroy this world, and no one will be able to speak up as they destroy it.
Thank God for X. He's our savior now.
That's right. Thank God.
Dawn, what you said before was so on. That the thing that separates some people that you might agree with and consider like-minded and the other people, I really feel like, and it relates to what Edwin is saying too, in a way, it's this hubris. This hubris is thinking that you know everything and that you've got it all figured out and you can change global warming or you can change a rapidly mutating RNA virus and by vaccinating 8 billion people once every 3 months. This is a hubris. The thing that Christians and other people who believe in some kind of higher power, they don't have to be Christian. The thing that's important to differentiate between those people is that they don't think that they know everything. They don't know everything. And so when history, which is proven to be wrong very frequently, and science as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. When new information comes about, and you ingest it and you replace it. Videos or the articles because he couldn't damage his self-identity in that way. His self-identity is I don't know it. I'll just refer back to my authority figures and they'll know it. And therefore I can control everything and feel safe at night. Have a good night's sleep. Well, I'm the exact opposite of that. Most people that I enjoy speaking to understand that they don't know everything, that they don't think that there's somebody says something about a virus and all of a sudden now it's a fact. No, facts are facts. Facts are not facts. Facts are things that haven't been proven to be false yet. It's such a weird thing, but the hubris is what it really all comes down to. Like, think about it. I want to say this last thing. You have COVID, right? A virus, a rapidly mutating RNA virus. Extremely difficult to get rid of. AIDS virus is the same kind of virus. We haven't gotten to the point where we can fix that either. And you think in a couple of months, is this what these people think? The WHO, our government, and all the idiots that we've spoken to on this app, they think that we can, we'll run it through a process, and then the way that we'll fix it is we'll get rid of this virus by vaccinating 8 billion people every 3 months when we do it. And we can do this, and therefore we should lock everyone in their houses, we should shut everything down because we can fix it. No, you can't fix it. If you're old, stay home. If you're sick and immunity-wise, stay home. You can't have this. I thought from the very beginning. Go ahead.
Yeah, the whole thing was a TV virus, right? This is what we're kind of facing. People who make up stuff. So even a concept of CRISPR, making a vaccine that just means you make a serum with a microwave. That's what CRISPR was about. So when you start looking at what Zuckerberg was doing since 2002 with CRISPR technology, some of everybody else way in the future. You gotta invest in CRISPR technology and gene modification. It was all about just using a microwave to make some quick serum. And even if you look at the ingredients, what they call the vaccine, SM102, that's the main component of antifreeze. You know, and a lot of people never even put these together. That while the immigrants were coming over the border and weren't having to get vaccinated, the people who live in America, we all had to get vaccinated. And Trump would have ended it.
And BLM riots, don't forget that. Hundreds of thousands of rioters burning our cities down, fully unvaccinated, spreading the plague. It was all bait and switch. It was all lies. It was all traitorship. It was all terrorism. It was all domestic intelligence. It was bullshit. And big tech and the billionaires and CIA, NSA, everybody involved should be held responsible because nothing like this has ever happened. And this is the turning point in American history, constitutionally speaking, where we will either be destroyed culturally, traditionally, linguistically, borderly, everything. And it's not about racism. It's about the truth, which is big pharma and big weapons and big banks and big energy. They're really more interested about their preservation than your preservation.
And if you check, remdesivir was -1% effective, caused 60% liver failure. Same with midazolam and dexamethasone. So all the things that they said to treat us, even the ventilators that were blowing out people's lungs. So everything they said to treat us was kind of like a death machine. You know, you come in, you say you're sick, with a PCR test is actually only theoretical. That Fauci was being sued over because HIV was also big. And he led that spearheaded that. Back in the days when HIV could catch it from spit, from running around playing football with a friend. Don't hang with the HIV infected friend. You might die. And it's kind of obvious what they've been doing so fraud over the years. But if Trump had got chlorine dioxide, MMS, or the hydroxychloroquine, that would have ended this whole emergency use authorization. That's why I'm pro-Trump to the end. I'm going to get some work done. Yo, God bless and MAGA.
Yeah, MAGA Maha. I'm pro-Trump to the end too, and I was big Kennedy, and I kind of knew that they would unite somehow. That Kennedy felt to me like destiny, meaning that with his uncle and his father and what was happening with pandemic and 9/11, that it seemed to me that when Kennedy was running, and it seemed to me it was like destiny or fates or American history bubbling back up to right a great wrong in American history, because JFK was a beloved president and he was a war hero. And, whatever, personal things he was doing, everything, all this political stuff is really tied into Wall Street, because even Kennedy's father or his grandfather was appointed the head of the SEC during the 1929 Great Depression, because so many people lost their money in the stock market. And there will be another major financial crisis in this country where your life savings could be threatened. If you live in a foreign country like Lebanon and you had let's say $400,000 in the bank, now you got $200,000 because the bank isn't going to give you what you gave them. And that might happen in this country at $35 trillion in debt. So your future is being sold down a river of lies, of communist, Marxist, terrorist ideology, and a false Hegelian neurolinguistic dialectic from Kamala and Waltz. They are traitors. They are artificial, inorganic candidates who are basically not Americans. They are communist traitors.
Don't forget that Lindsey Graham and Ronald Romney McDaniels and Mitt Romney, the Republicans deserved to get taken over and butt pumped by Donald Trump. They really deserved it. They really, really deserved everything that they got kicked out of their own party and abused and humiliated in front of the whole world for what the Republicans have done in conjunction with the Democrats for the last 30 years, which is sell our children and our children's children's futures down the toilet. I'm so glad that Donald Trump
bang them in the ass and then dance on top of them.
Yeah, it was long overdue. When John McCain debates Obama and John McCain can't even stick a dagger in his fucking political opponent and gives the presidency to a fucking heroin guy. Obama is a dark Sith Lord. Clinton is a dark Sith Lord. These people are really wicked, evil people. It is a fight of good versus evil, of lies versus truth. And if the story is true that Barack Obama was smoking crack, getting blowjobs in Kearney, Illinois, by that faggot who was on Tucker Carlson, he is obviously a prostitute, and Kamala is obviously a prostitute. So these high-class escorts have to be totally fucking subverted, completely gotten, doxxed, and filmed, and thoroughly blackmailed. They absolutely have to be blackmailed people. They are fucking prostitutes.
Marginalized. Listen, man, at the beginning of this year, I was like, we need to come together. We can make it. We need to come together. I still believe that, but there's one critical step first. The other side needs to be politically massacred in November. It can't be another, Trump wins by 500 votes or the other way. It's got to be a substantial political massacre, because if it's not, they'll just keep coming back.
But impossible. The ballot harvesting, the mail-in ballots, as well as Dominion voting systems with Alex Soros taking photos with every single person because he's the puppet master. If you really think you're going to get a fair and honest election, you do not. Obviously, you're retarded and you haven't been following the news. And Trump is most likely going to lose to a fake election with Kamala, as the DOJ and all these attorney generals are coming out saying, don't question the results. There should be no acts of insurrection or violence or even communication about the results. So you can expect shit to pop off. My birthday is November 6th, and this could be the greatest fucking birthday gift I've ever had in my life. I hope some shit pops off, because if they claim that Kamala and Waltz are the president and the vice president of this country, I guarantee you that there are enough patriots in this country who will question the results and begin taking drastic action and making arrests and actually doing citizen arrests or municipal arrests in Republican non-sanctuary cities. There could be an actual secession or division at the state or city level, to where there could be a political impasse in DC because governors are no longer going to continue to play ball with Washington, DC.
Totally agree. But I hope that it doesn't pop off. I hope that there's a fair election. But once you see what a Dominion voting machine is capable of, once you see how all you have to do is weight the vote, Donald Trump's vote is weighted 1. Kamala Harris, she's losing. Well, her vote is now weighted 1.2. And the machine does it. It weights the votes. It adds the amount of votes to her tally. And then it's untraceable. It's like it never happened. How can you have a fair election when that's possible? And why the fuck do we need these machines? It doesn't matter. Why the fuck haven't Republicans been screaming from the rooftops? They didn't do shit about the machines. They've done some other work.
It's because the lobbyists come into their office in the halls of Congress with checks and say, hey, I'm your local lobbyist for Dominion voting systems. I'd like to schedule a meeting with you. I'd like to take you to dinner. I'd like to take you to the Knicks game. What do you say? That's what $200 billion buys you. It buys you a front row seat or a table reservation every night of the week with somebody in DC who will vote on $1 trillion omnibus. If you don't think that those relationships aren't compromised and aren't fraudulent, well, then obviously you're a moron. I'm telling you, Republicans are not going to be happy come November 6th. They are not going to be happy.
I fear you are correct. Because I talked to my parents, dude, and my little sister, who's the sweetest person I have ever met. And they all told me, they're like, if this goes down again, my sister goes, we're not taking it. We are not going to sit back again. She's. I think Republicans, even in the last 4 years, they said to themselves, "Oh my God," gritting their teeth, fucking anger. And they're just, all right, let me get through it. We're almost there. The 4 years are almost over. And if they try and do it again, it's going to be bad. I know myself. I've had enough.
Listen, RFK and Tulsi Gabbard are going to get on Instagram and they're going to say, this election was a fraudulent election. We are 100% sure that mail-in ballots and Dominion voting systems have compromised our elections, and we cannot endorse can you already hear the speeches? And everyone, yeah. Can you write this conversation in your calendar, please? So in the future, you can be like, oh yeah, Adrian Dittman predicted all this on August 29th, 2024.
I can already see the craziness that's going to fall this country. And it's all.
You're going to see the stock market collapse in November. I can guarantee you that there will be no confidence in the stock market because the political situation. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I am not a financial advisor. I just play one on television. But if you haven't started liquidating your portfolio into this recovery rally, I highly encourage you to start liquidating into cash, because the stock market, when everyone realizes that it's a stolen election and America falls into political chaos, the stock market's going to drop 10% because investor confidence will plummet with the political confidence.
Yep. I just took myself out and put it into gold and silver-backed treasuries and something else. Maybe I can't remember, treasury bonds, treasury bills. I can't remember exactly what it was that the guy did for me, but I was like, I do not see this lasting. I see this all collapsing, and I don't want to be there in November. And he goes, all right. A lot of people have been asking me to do this.
Listen, there are certain stocks that will always, well, listen, you never know. Everything could really go to shit. So there will be no safe havens. My point is if you're already back up in the market because the market has recovered significantly just in the past couple of weeks, now is the time to liquidate and get out, because the political situation in this country come November 6th, it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and this country will not have a president until probably January. And it will probably be a communist installment of Kamala Waltz. And there will be political and possible false flag situations to create more instability. And if you think that the stock market isn't going to react to domestic terrorist attacks and instability politically, you are a really stupid investor. You are witnessing probably the most controversial transition of power ever in American history, which is the deep state, a legacy deep state from Kennedy's assassination to the events of 9/11 to the COVID-19 vaccine distribution. George W. Bush is not finished. He killed Saddam Hussein, he destroyed Afghanistan, and he will most likely make more attempts on on Donald Trump and RFK, because that transition cannot take place if their control is to remain in effect. Do you think they're just going to give up 24 years of being of hard work and being traitors and covering it all up? No, the Skull and Bones has an investment. And you think they're going to let it spoil and let Donald Trump and Kennedy come in and destroy all the fraud and treason and terror and traitorship? No. This is going to be the most politically unstable time in American history.
Yeah, I don't like to say it, but I don't think they will ever let Donald Trump cross the threshold of the White House alive.
They'll take a drone. They will take a drone like they did to the Pentagon in Shanksville and drone Trump as he's getting out of his limo going into the White House. I'm pretty sure that Kennedy and Trump will never, ever take control of this country, ever.
I know. They can't. There's too much money and power at stake. They kill people for no reason. They killed Seth.
Too big to fail. It's too big to fail. Clinton, her husband, and everybody else, all the traitors, even Jimmy Carter right now is taking breath by breath saying, I hope I get to see it. November 6th, Jimmy Carter's still sitting there going, November 6th, I can make it. I'll only be 108.
So scary. It's so wrong.
And all these countries, Iran, North Korea, the whole axis of terror that George Bush apparently called out in his 9/11 speech, they definitely don't want to see Trump. They definitely don't want to see Kennedy in office because everybody thrives in war, especially third world shithole countries that enslave their population. It emboldens them and gives them greater power when they get attacked. You have to reverse psychologize this from on the ground at the Iranian level or the North Korean level. When their leaders are attacked, that gives them more unity amongst their population. It's not the other way around.
I really don't see how, and it's so fucked up that we had to just suck shit in 2020. If you said a word about it on television, blacklisted off the air by Fox too, and people just sucked shit. They sucked it up for 4 years, and God forbid something like that happens again.
Did you know they had a? Did you know?
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't suck shit. I screamed from the mountaintop what was going on, and it cost me. And anybody that is still speaking out, it's costing you too. You may not know how, but it's costing you because people are aware of who is cheap and who is not. And so don't throw me in that same category of just sucking shit.
Did you know during the DNC in Chicago, they had a Democrat speaker corner where parties could apply for a permit to make speeches? And literally nobody from the Democratic Party and no Democrats even showed up to this event, even though it was specifically organized and licensed by the city for Democrats to go and speak. And the conclusion is that Democrats don't know that Kamala and Waltz are the neocon candidates. And so how a Democrat deludes themselves and lies to themselves that they're not neocons is beyond me. And I think it's so partisan and so brainwashed. And when you tell them, did you know that they're the neocon conservatives, that's George Bush and Dick Cheney in a Kamala Waltz flesh suit? Did you know that? They are incapable of conceiving that, understanding that, comprehending that, grasping that. That is so far away from their hypnosis propaganda, brainwashing, that, we are living in a clown world 100%. I mean, I've literally seen clowns. I've seen obese women with purple hair wearing clown suits, and they're gay and vaccinated and dying, but they're not dead yet. I don't know how they're still alive. I don't know how they breathe. Anyways, well, I've created multiple. Yeah, I know. I've created multiple clown podcast type content. It doesn't matter. I'm going full Adrian Dittman because Adrian Dittman is secretly Elon Musk. This is his nom de plume on Twitter, on X, called Adrian Dittman. Every night of the week, Adrian Dittman, billionaire, is speaking about the political situation and about his milkshake and burger in his Tesla while farting and saying, all kinds of insane shit. I have no confidence in Elon Musk anymore. He's a fat piece of shit who eats 2 steaks with butter every night.
You are so fucked up. See it.
No, but I want everybody here to mark it in your calendars that on August 29th, 2024, Adrian Dittman predicted that Republicans will not be happy with the false certified election on November 6th when the Democrats announce and all the mainstream media announces. No. This is how you reverse it. You don't understand, Angela. This is how you reverse the future by talking about it now. It's not putting it out there. What I'm trying to say is we can circumnavigate what's going to happen by talking about it. That's the only way to neutralize the insanity.
What you focus on expands.
All right, this is a positive event. This is us predicting the future, which will not come to pass because we talk about it now. This is how you modify the environment.
Hey, circumcised.
The positive of this is that we get the Civil War that they
Yeah, but do you want that? I don't.
No, I don't want a civil war or anarchy or revolution. Leave that for the third world countries. And let purple hair CIA agents go do that in third world countries. Let them go die over there and do what these fucking purple hair people clown want to do. Let them die doing it. But don't ask for any of our sons or daughters to go join the LGBTQ revolution war in Ukraine.
Isn't it funny how wrong they are? Like about the Ukraine from day one. Myself and other people probably are saying about Ukraine. Why are we sending them money? You're not going to win against Russia. You're never going to win. Russia can't afford to not win this thing. Blah, 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 blah. And then 2 years later, oh, well, you know what? It seems like maybe we shouldn't be having such a hand in Ukraine. They're going to just get to the table at some point, make a deal, and that's it. That's the way it was always going to fucking end.
Yeah, but Hunter and that Secretary of State, they did a regime change there. A silent coup.
I know. And that's part of the reason why Ukraine was left vulnerable, and also why Russia had when it moved in on them. We created this whole problem.
It didn't just get created. I live in Chicago where there's a big Ukrainian population, and these beautiful young girls have been flocking to my city for 20, 30 years. Ukraine is a third world shithole. It is Russia's dumping ground, and it's not a new conflict. They have been at each other's throats forever. This is not new. We only agitated it by doping it, by spiking it, by manipulating it. It's our State Department, our president, our senators, John McCain, and these loser faggots that are destroying the world by being interventionists. Look at Ron Paul. It's called blowback. We don't even have domestic terrorism and mass shootings in this country from international terrorists. It's our own clowns killing their own citizens. Look at Crooks. The body has been burned. The roof has been sanitized. The FBI covered it up. The investigation, the photos they just released, it's all fraud. All of it. They tried to kill our fucking president. The orange crayon, the orange MAGA one. I'm telling you, this is a war. And Kamala and Waltz are most definitely communist sleeper agents. And they will cause World War III if we can't stop them from getting into the fucking White House.
So I don't really speak anymore from this app for many reasons, but what Adrian was saying made me think of something that someone once told me. The future, or sorry, the past cannot be changed, but the future can be by changing the present moment. The present moment is the future past. So what you're doing is what you need to do, Adrian, be yourself. But yeah, like Civil War is stupid. Like, who's gonna fight the active duty Marines? Like, all of the veterans in the reserve. Like, who's gonna
No, I'm not saying that that's the type of civil war that will take place. I'm saying that there will be most likely some type of a state secession. And then the federal government will move into that state and say, hey, you can't break this union. And that will be the type of political drama. I'm not talking about real war. No American is stupid enough to try to organize something like that. You won't make it. And so your cell phone doesn't explode when you throw it. And like Michael Corleone said when asked who's going to win the Revolutionary War in Cuba, he said, obviously, Fidel, because he has people willing to do suicide bombings to achieve their goals. No American is going to ruin their life trying to take out Kamala or Waltz. Nothing like that will happen. I'm just talking that the Hegelian dialectic and the neurolinguistic programming is what will continue to happen, and everybody will just be hypnotized and entranced with the joy and positivity of these two communist, subversive traitors, Waltz and Kamala.
So, just to go off what you're saying, so like I read a book in Afghanistan 14 years ago, talk about like the next war being fought digitally in cyberspace. So I think that's like where we're at. If you look at like global movements and stuff, like the
United Nations, for example, in 2019, they came into Utah, basically denied citizens of Utah their First Amendment right, closed down the location they were at, wouldn't allow like photography or questioning at all. And then you see like things in like New York where the UN is like openly hiring people for disarmament teams. And so your civil war would be a war against people of the UN. And many years ago, China became the #1 funder of the United Nations. So they're doing a lot of stuff in like Africa, for example. You start to see these global movements and like what's happening in Ukraine. It's, well, we're violating treaties we made. We wouldn't build up NATO around Russian territory, which like Russia has come out and said like Ukrainian people and Russian people, or Putin came out and said Ukrainian people and Russian people are one people. Like the birthplace of the Russian language is I think Kiev, or however you say it. You just start seeing like these.
We shouldn't even listen to you, Mac. You're just a Putin sympathizer. We shouldn't listen to a word you have to say.
I think Putin is a psychopath that rose to power in the KGB and should not be trusted, just like the Marxists that are lying to the population. Oh, socialism's so good. I mean, Vladimir Lenin himself said that socialism is the easiest way to communism. And then all scholars say communism's never been tried because it's never been, the real communism's never been tried because it's never been implemented correctly. And then you get a bunch of, purple-haired women in clown suits saying, no, they're not lying, they're lying. They're communists. Anyone that understands Marx, he taught how to install communist regime, not how to liberate the people. Like that's the revolution.
Steps. Take over the education system. Take over that book by what's his name?
Salowinsky.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton wrote her college thesis on his rules for radicals. And then you wonder, proponents of women. I'm just like I don't support war. Like I'm anti-war. I've been to war. I see what it actually does. It destroys lives everywhere, even the people that face it.
Can I just interject one thing? I read that Marxism says that fiat currency is the only way to create true communism in Marxism, by degrading a nation's currency. That's how you instill communism into the country.
Yeah, and then you just look at what happened with the Federal Reserve. It's an illusionary system backed off of our promises to pay our debts. It's like how Congress extends money. That's why they gave billions of dollars to Ukraine, and within like a year or two later, we're paying like freaking double for food. Like food has gone up like 50%, and gas is doubled.
Well, all these banks have become the banks have become communication corporations, and the Federal Reserve is nothing more than a communication agency. And this whole thing about money and dollars and gold and silver, there's a reckoning coming. Your dollar is worth a lot less than you think it is. Your dollar might only buy, a Snickers bar might end up costing $5 or even $10 in this country.
So, Adrian, are you familiar with Executive Order 11110?
No.
So, in 1963, around like May or June of 1963, JFK proposed Executive Order 11110, which was an abolishment of the Federal Reserve and moving it back to the United States Treasury. He printed $4 billion in the silver-backed currency in May, June to November. It was like 5-6 months. So you start to see these trends, these patterns. It's funny how many times I've been called a Putin sympathizer. I think Putin's a psychopath. I think that people telling me I'm a terrorist is a problem. Demonizing my grandma because she supports a person.
Yeah, but that's when you know you're getting to them, because guys like Isaiah, aka Thugga Biden, the Pfizer vaccine executive, he loves calling people on this app domestic terrorists. And I think if there's somebody who's a domestic terrorist, it's definitely Thugga Biden, that piece of shit on this app.
There's a lot of people not being honest with their Like nobody hardly says anything on this app, and if anyone says their opinion, it manipulates it. Like I stated a fact, and I got called a Putin sympathizer, which I know you're kidding. It's just a lot of people be like, "Oh no, look, he said it. He was serious."
Yeah, but this isn't 1974, 1989, or 1950. We're living in 2024, and we cannot continue this bullshit narrative of Russia and America and living in that paradigm. Those days are over.
This is where the thinking department and people within the American government, they're fucking obsessed with Russia. They're old Stone Age Cold Warrior faggots that never got the memo that Russia is not making close to our greatest threat anymore. And yet they're so used to the Cold War and all of the little games that they play back and forth that they will do anything. They will do millions of lives in order to maintain their narrative that they're the good guys and the Russians are the bad guys. These are sick people.
Listen, the fact that George W. Bush hasn't said a word in many, many years, except for very few speaking engagements, tells you that that man is no leader, and that he is responsible for a lot of the deep state operations, or at least greenlighting them, or acquiescing, or never speaking up. He is no George Washington. George Bush is a coward. He doesn't say shit. I think Obama, and it looks like his fucking son. It seems to me that the CIA is too big to fail, that George Bush and his father and many other people have a lot of explaining to do, and they never will. And unless we can regime change this government, we will never get anything changed in this country. It will be forever wars, forever vaccines, and forever censorship. And I'm prepared to live in that society and manipulate and adjust and change like a chameleon and evolve and survive. One day I may even become a Democrat and really become a Democrat, but a hardcore communist Marxist, to show all these hardcore communist Marxists that they're not hardcore enough, that they're actually all faggot pussies.
You make an interesting point too about like Bush. A lot of people don't realize like Bush was not the one making decisions in his presidency. Dick Cheney was mostly the voice of the administration. He was the CEO of Halliburton, the defense contracting company that we used to rebuild the country to be destabilized. It's like a few months ago, I made a mistake. I made a mistake in my speech where I was talking about the Geneva Convention, which was protocols designed for the barbarity of war. Article 5 talks about non-enemy combatants. I meant Article 5 of the NATO alliance says that an attack on our allies is no different than a direct attack on us, which is what they use often. That's why you see what's happening in Ukraine happening the way it is, Taiwan the same. Because if we're allies with them and they're attacking Ukraine, I don't think we should send our children, our men, our women to fight in any war that's not here in America. And, people can cry all they want until they go fight for themselves, and then they live with what it costs. Because it doesn't get easier hearing everybody say the things that they say. And you wonder why there's such a high rate of veterans committing suicide. And I'm very outspoken about this stuff.
Not to mention George Bush and his regime, they're all war criminals. And in many countries, there's warrants for their arrest.
Yeah, I was wondering, when is Afghanistan and Iraq gonna build a Holocaust museum dedicated to their war dead from the fake 9/11 attack and the consequences of a deep state operation? Because obviously 2 planes can't bring down 3 skyscrapers, and Pentagon and Shanksville were just rockets. So American government has a lot of explaining to do to Afghanistan and Iraq, and I think they should propagandize a Holocaust museum in those 2 countries to bring attention to all the civilian deaths as a result of 9/11 being an inside job or a fake scam cover-up.
Yeah, because I think the last thing.
What about the
Holocaust Museum or the Zionists? They're the only ones that get a Holocaust Museum.
What about your fellow citizens that died in these wars? I've got a few friends that didn't make it home.
What I mean, there's a lot of them. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of maimed Americans that lives have been completely destroyed, their families completely destroyed because America can't stop doing its business. It's bread and butter, baby.
I mean, if you look at, and then you look at like
bread and butter,
George
baby.
Bush Senior was before his presidency, and then like Operation Paperclip, Mockingbird, and all this. Like anyone that doesn't know what Operation Paperclip was, it was a CIA operation to place 400 operatives in news stations across America to manipulate the public perception.
That's Mockingbird.
Mockingbird was,
yeah.
Well, no, Paperclip specifically was to institute that. Mockingbird was for them to repeat the rhetoric that was being used.
Wait, which one was to bring in the Nazi war rocket scientists? I thought that was Paperclip.
Isn't that NASA?
No, von Braun and all these Nazi scientists. That was an operation, but I think that's. Anyways, we could Google it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but like von Braun, the founder of NASA, was a Nazi scientist. So it's like when you see stuff like that, yeah, it leads a lot of questions. And the one thing we have left here as Americans is we can freely speak about this stuff, hopefully civilly. Like, you can attack me as a person.
Yeah, but this conversation will be censored. It will be removed from the internet. And automated censorship at Google, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it is automated now. You cannot have these conversations. You can't talk about 9/11. You can't talk about the vaccines. You can't talk about immigrant hotels and rapes in your city. This is all either racism, medical misinformation, hate speech, calls to violence, things of that nature. And these are not what they say it is. Therefore, there's a fully automated 1984 censorship control system, which has just recently been implemented by Google, Facebook, and it's new. I do a lot of live streaming, and I can assure you there is a new technology in advance of the election disaster results, which Republicans will have a shitstorm over come November 6th.
Hey, did you guys know John F. Kennedy Jr. knows who killed his father?
RFK went on record on Tucker Carlson as well as Bill Maher and fully explained who killed his uncle, his father, and it's 100% CIA, and that all those documents are just waiting to be released. And George W. Bush should be shitting bricks in his fucking Austin compound. I mean, George W. Bush is technically the David Koresh of our government. He needs to be audited just like the Fed.
Hey, did you guys remember the name of John F. Kennedy Jr.'s magazine?
People magazine?
No,
it's not People magazine. Yeah, George. Sorry.
It was called George. He was trying to tell people who killed his father through the title of his magazine.
You want to know what's really interesting about JFK Jr.? So in May of 1999, he came out with an interview on the news where he talked about running against the senator of New York, then Hillary Clinton, and finishing his father's work July 16, 1999, in his plane. Suicided itself. It's like just the history of.
He sealed his fate by challenging the deep state.
Listen, his daughter, Jenna Hager Bush, or whatever her name is, she goes on every day on Good Morning America, and she has this biracial dialogue about everything women, and Melinda Gates spreads propaganda nonstop. Melinda Gates is investing so heavily into dozens of YouTube and Instagram videos about women, 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 women. Everything is women. This is a diversion tactic of the deep state and of the Hegelian dialectic. And they do the same thing with the word gay. I got to say, America should have clamped down on the word gay in the same way that Jordan Peterson has clamped down on the word of this pronoun dialectic. We have to call a spade a spade. And when a man sucks a dick or sticks a dick in a booty hole, that man is not gay, because gay is a fucking concept. When I say water, you don't get fucking wet. And when you can't question the election results come November 6th and the deep state installment of censorship is fully complete, mark it on your calendar. Adrian Dittman told you to stick it in Uranus.
That was profound, bro.
I have a theory about this Nazis, National Socialists. I don't think that the original name for like Nazi soldiers was supposed to be Nazi. I think Nazis is code, and I think it has something to do with Ashkenazi Jews.
No.
I think they're trying to tell us.
No. Nazi is an acronym for National Socialists, and Ashkenazi or Ashkenazi is basically Caucasian Jews from Lithuania, Poland, Germany, etc. That is a racial group of, monkeys. And so what I'm trying to point out is that the Khazarian conspiracy and all this Jewish derangement syndrome is stupid. In my opinion, you may think that that's the deep state, or you think the Rothschilds control everything. I've been to Israel, and it's a lot of millions of people who complain about their government. They're not involved in conspiracy. They think their government sucks. The Palestinians think their government sucks. And as an American, I think my fucking government sucks. Really bad. Really fucking bad.
Follow me on this, though. Follow me on this, okay? Because when I heard National Socialist Party, right, Nazi, the acronyms don't add up to me. Like, okay, so I get the NA, nationalist, right? Nationalist Socialist, but so you miss me with the V and the I, right? So I'm thinking that whoever is, I think it's a warning. Like, who's really, like, behind, like, a lot of this stuff that's going on.
No, we know who's behind it. His name is George Soros. His son's name is Alex Soros. And Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. Well, just give us the fucking names, dude. We don't need your Jewish derangement syndrome conspiracy theories. It's too late in the evening for that bullshit.
No. That's your opinion, bro. First of all, I'm just getting some dialogue going here. Okay, throw a little something into the mix, something different. I really do believe that it's a warning of, like, it wasn't really the Germans who really got the Holocaust rolling, because look who benefited from the Holocaust, and look at where we are now, and it really goes back.
Who benefited from the Holocaust?
The Zionists.
Really? Well, I don't know. I don't know about you, but when you live in a concentration camp and you're murdered, there's no winners there, my friend. That's called evil, and that's just really bad human behavior. I mean, if you can't denounce the Holocaust and you think that the Jews are benefiting from the Holocaust, you're retarded. They got decimated from the Holocaust.
Look at the situation that they're in now. The whole world is about to go to war over what's going on in Israel, the Palestinian. The whole world is about to go to war.
Really? You think the whole world is going to go to war? No, the Israelis are going to go to war against people shooting rockets and bombing C-4 fucking drones over their heads at their fucking playgrounds. They're going to fight back. That's what they do. That's what everybody will do, and that's what everybody should do when you're being killed.
How do you get...
Phoenix. Quickly, Phoenix, I just want to help you out here. So just look up, so Nazi, right? It's derived from the word National Socialist, where they use the letter Z in socialist, because you're translating German into English, and so you're misunderstanding like the acronym based off of an English derivative of the word that was used in German. Does that make sense?
I'm just pointing something out, man. Ashkenazi.
Well, I know, but
actually sound like
I know, dude. It's a joke. I've been using that joke for years, bro. It's nothing new. You're not introducing something new into my head. I knew that a long time ago. I make that joke all the time.
Well, I'm not joking, man. I think that it's a warning. I think they're trying.
That's because you're stupid and you don't know what a fucking acronym is, bro. You don't know shit about the Nazi Party or history, apparently. Yeah, I agree. She's pretty fucking stupid, but not as stupid as you. Listen, you can call me an asshole, but it takes a fucking asshole to know a fucking asshole. Nice to meet you too, Buttercup. Well, Google it or put it through ChatGPT. Don't make us your research project, you fucking Jew derangement syndrome moron.
Well, how about this?
So stop for a second. Stop for a second.
Make us your fucking research
So read the book. I want you to just go read a book. It's by a guy named Viktor Frankl. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. He writes from the perspective of concentration camps. He was in Auschwitz and he survived.
Yeah,
So read the book.
I think Hitler was tricked by the Zionists. I think they put him into power, and I think
Maybe, but calling people a bunch of names on this app isn't going to make that different or true or false. It's going to just make
talk to you about Adrian.
Yeah, but you don't shit when you throw gas on a fire, it makes it worse. So like, let's just not go down that road. Like that's just why I stay off this app. It's like, let's have a civil conversation where points are discussed, because once points are being discussed, that's how conflict ensues. Like nations are divided because we can't talk. I understand what you're saying, but it's derived from the German word where they use the word Z in socialist. Z. So N-A or Nazi has a Z because of the socialist way it's spelled there. And so it's not because, there's this conspiracy. Sure, maybe there's a conspiracy to enslave the whole of mankind, every woman and child in America. Like, let's just quote JFK from his speech that got him killed. And so the guy sleeping on stage, I'm not, it's funny, but whatever. Like, we're not going to have a good conversation if we're just calling each other's names. Like, who cares? Like, in the end of the day, I'm still a United States Marine, and I'm not really concerned about myself personally. But I don't want war in America because I have a lot of friends and family that are not Marines, not trained. I know a lot of people that think that Call of Duty is the same. It's not. If we want a united country, we have to come together. We're not going to solve anything with like 50 people, or like 50 people, like 10 people in a little room with guys sleeping on stage.
Hey, Matt, let me ask this question. Do you know what God's promise is to his chosen people?
Do I what?
Do you know what God's promise is to his chosen people?
Depends on what you're asking.
Well, let me tell you what the prophecy is. The prophecy states that the whole world will become theirs, and that whoever is left on the planet.
We've come full circle. Dr. Responsible, do you remember these rooms from 3 years ago? It's the same guy. Because I don't really have a problem interrupting people with Jewish derangement syndrome.
No, I don't have a problem with Jews, okay? I have a problem with Zionist Jews.
I know, but a Jew by definition should be a fucking Zionist. You admire the Zionists and you want to be a fucking Zionist.
There are Jewish people who do not recognize Zionists as being Jews, okay?
Here we go again. Listen, Phoenix, it's too late for your bullshit, my friend. Put it in ChatGPT and do your research over there. I don't want to listen to this shit. I'll let you talk, but I'll just leave. Go ahead.
Yeah, why don't you just do that, man? I mean, you're just being a jerk, man. Like, you're the only person that can have an opinion up there. It's not cool, bro.
And that's why I'm going to leave, so everybody can enjoy your content. Go ahead.
All right, bye-bye. So listen. That's God's promise, man, is that they would inherit the earth, and whoever's left will be enslaved to serve God's chosen people. But the question is who is God's chosen people? Because the Ashkenazi Jews are converts. They're not the original people.
That's right. They're Khazarians, right? They're born from the Khazarian Empire, correct?
Right.
Wow, you got Jewish derangement syndrome real bad, bro. Mazel tov and l'chaim, Phoenix. Oh, man, you must be a black Hebrew Israelite wishing you were a Zionist. Oh, my God, and mazel tov. L'chaim.
And people act like they can't see this. But the whole, like,
Go ahead. Get it all out. Get that Jew derangement syndrome all out of your system, and then go make yourself a corned beef sandwich for dessert.
You're being a distraction.
I'm not distracting. I'm calling you stupid, low IQ moron who needs to go to a fucking library and read some motherfucking books, dog.
Listen, I'm not your dog.
Woof, woof.
First of all, okay? So
Listen, man, I got street cred, dog. Me and DMX, we used to roll together, and me and DMX used to read what's called books. When was the last time you hung out with DMX at the library, dog? Who let the dogs out? Woo, woo, woo. Who let the dogs out? Woo, 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 woo. Who let the dogs out? Woo, 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 woo. Who let the dogs out? Woo, woo, woo. Let me hear the Jewish derangement syndrome Khazarian conspiracy theory. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead, Phoenix 3369. Mazel tov and l'chaim.
You're worried about something. That's why you keep interrupting.
No, this is called comedy, where I get to make fun of an idiot at your expense for my entertainment, and so I can put it all on YouTube and point out how stupid you are to everybody who hopefully watches my YouTube videos. You're right, dude. It takes an asshole to know an asshole. Look at my PTR, bro. You're looking at an asshole, and I'm looking at an asshole in your PTR.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, something's going on with Israel. All right, that situation shouldn't even be happening. Okay, the whole world is about to go to war over this situation, and these people have the most to benefit from the Holocaust. And it's almost like they sacrificed some of their people.
Man, dog, you need to go become a teacher at your local Chicago public school system and teach kindergartners this incredible history class. Oh my God, I have known some really stupid history teachers in my life, but you should be a fucking history professor. Have you thought about getting a master's in history? You need to be at the university collegiate level with this history course. This is fucking phenomenal shit. Where did you do your research, sir?
Research, man. And Israel is not supposed to be where it's at right now. It's wrong.
Well, goddamn, dog, it sounds to me like it's a you problem who doesn't like fucking reality. It's going up because my nervous anxiety over your stupidity is peaking.
I'm gonna go. But so the Bible, like, just
blocking information. That's what's going on.
I hope you guys have fun yelling at each other.
Listen, dog, when you project bad ideas, the universe puts them right back in your mouth and says, no, dog, that's a bad idea. You're retarded and stupid.
Vaccination, that's what the bad idea is.
Well, finally, we can agree on something.
That's was a bad idea.
I gotta say, Burla is a Jewish Zionist Greek, a doctor who created the vaccine for Pfizer. Burla, in my opinion, we should talk about names, not just the Khazarian Empire JDS that you've touted, because what you're really saying is that you're the real Jew, and that these Jews who claim that they converted. I mean, your conspiracy history course. Anyways.
That shows how smart you are.
Okay, the point is, can you explain your PTR?
No, I'm not going to explain that to you.
Okay, never mind then. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
Aleister Crowley.
Oh, I'd love to. Oh, I'm so glad you finally asked. Evil? Listen, this is George Bush's grandfather. I'm going to read to you what George Bush's grandfather wrote, his beautiful son, great-grandson, George W. Bush. Let Mary inviolate be torn upon wheels. For her sake, let all chaste women be utterly despised among you. Also, for beauty's sake and love's. Despise also all cowards, professional soldiers who dare not fight, but play. All fools despise, but the keen and the proud, the royal and the lofty, ye are brothers, and brothers fight ye. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt. There is an end of the word of the God enthroned in Ra's seat.